Hey, Sandworms. This is the Real Manos log, star date 3/11/16. And we are going to be talking about some news that came over the wire today. And it is none other than news about the Beetlejuice 2 movie. The news is there's no Beetlejuice 2 movie. It's apparently done. There's going to be no film. That came across the wire by a representative of Tim Burton's office, which is a bit of a shock because it's been slowly coming together. We've been seeing stories about how Winona Ryder's involved and Michael Keaton's involved, and what the general idea of what the film was going to be. So I have a couple feelings about the film. I'm a fan of Tim Burton myself, and I'm a fan of that film. But I have to confess, I'm a little split on it, frankly. I'm on one hand disappointed, but on the other hand, I'm relieved. So I guess I'm disleaved. And first off, I'll just say that I really enjoyed the film. I'm tempted to call it original film. Like there's no other thing other. It's just this film, and that's the thing. I always enjoyed this film. It was. I remember having fond memories of going to see it and renting it and watching it over the years because it had such a lively vibe to it, an original cool vibe that was on one hand creepy and had a dark sense of humor to it, and it was visually interesting, and it was just a lot of fun. Tim Burton back in 88, 89 was so hot, and he seemed to be somewhat of this kind of anti-establishment voice that made it into the mainstream and knew how to be entertaining for the masses, but still have something, at least a substance, to say in his humor, and still do it in a gothy, dark, cool method. This film was fun, and I enjoyed it. I have to. It also made me a lifelong fan of Winona Ryder, and I will always, always, always love Lydia Dietz. And I guess I am a little disappointed, we won't get that. However, on the other hand, the film came out in 1988. And often is the case when there's a sequel to a film just 10 years later, chances aren't very good for it to be a good film. And often, sometimes sequels of a film that were made a long time ago sometimes come out of desperation. Like, oh, we don't have anything left. Oh, wait, there's that thing I still have that people think is popular. And there are exceptions, yes, of course. Like, for instance, the Mad Max sequel that just came out last year is an exception. But a lot of times, yeah, it's not so great. And I guess I'm relieved that we won't have a Tim Burton film. We won't have a Beetlejuice film attached to all these actors that will come out and be embarrassing. And that's not going to happen. It's the Crystal Skull thing is not going to happen to Beetlejuice. So there's that. And I really still love Tim Burton, and I will freely admit, though, he is one of those filmmakers that really gets set in his ways. When he's in something that's comfortable to him, he does not leave it. And, he doesn't challenge himself much, which, as a fan, can be sometimes frustrating. And I have seen him from time to time, go out of his safe zone and make something really bold, like Ed Wood, or Big Fish, and Big Eyes, which were not successful and is probably among his least successful films. So he has to go back and do something like Beetlejuice 2, or Dark Shadows, or something like that. So yeah, I do recommend, in general, watching these films, because especially Big Eyes, I really enjoyed that film a lot. And Ed Wood is one of my favorite films, actually. Forget Tim Burton films. I just think it's such a great film. He really does know how to, take his sense of humor and put it in the real world in some of these films. And yeah, he's talking about artists, really. In the case of Big Eyes and Ed Wood, and even big fish in a way, in a manner of speaking, because he's talking about this guy who tells tall tales and stuff like that. So he kind of gets it. So he won't be, I guess, he won't be jumping the shark with Beetlejuice anytime soon. So what do you think? Are you happy? Are you disappointed? Are you disleaved? Like me? Throw a comment below, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I think that's it for my first The Real Manos log here on Geekvolution. So I think that's it for star date 3/11/16. So end communications, Lindsay.